Some battles seem unimportant during their time, and that's the case of the Myrish Bloodbath, which forever changed the course of history and the fate of the Seven Kingdoms and House Targaryen. The years 91 to 92 AC are known in history as the Myrish Bloodbath. In the city of Myr, two rival factions vied for control of the free city. There were assassinations, riots, poisonings, hangings, tortures, and countless sea battles, before one side eventually emerged supreme. The losing faction was driven from the city and tried to establish themselves first upon the island chain of the Stepstones, only to be hounded from there as well when the Archon of Tyrosh made a common cause with a league of pirate kings. In their desperation, the Myremen next turned to the island of Tarth in the Narrow Sea, just off the coast of Westeros, near Storm's End, wherein their landing to the Evenstar at Tarth by surprise. In a very short time they had taken the entire eastern side of the island, and the Evenstar's small force didn't have the strength to retake it alone. By that time, the Myrish were a little more than pirates themselves, a ragged band of rogues. Neither King Jaehaerys or his small council felt it would require much to drive them back to the sea. Prince Aemon, the eldest son and heir of King Jaehaerys, would lead the assault, it was decided. The Myremen did have some strength left at sea, so the sea snake, Corlys Velaryon, the husband of Princess Rhaenys, the daughter of Prince Aemon, would first need to bring the Velaryon fleet south to protect Lord Baelon Baratheon as he crossed the Tarth with his Stormlanders to join with the Evenstar's own levies. Their combined strength would be more than sufficient to retake all of Tarth from the Myrish pirates, and if there proved to be any unexpected or unforeseen difficulties, Prince Aemon would of course have his dragon, Caraxes, the Bloodworm, one of the most ferocious dragons to ever grace the Seven Kingdoms. Lord Corlys and his fleet set sail from Driftmark on the 9th day of the 3rd moon of 92 AC. Prince Aemon followed a few hours later after bidding farewell to his wife, Lady Jocelyn Baratheon, and their daughter Rhaenys. The princess had just learned she was expecting her first child, else she would have accompanied her father on her own dragon, Meleys. Caraxes swiftly outdistanced the sea snake and his fleet. Dropping down out of the sky on Tarth, Lord Cameron, the Evenstar at Tarth, had fallen back to the spine of the mountains that ran down the centre of the island and established a small camp in a hidden valley from which he could look down upon the Myrish movements below and coordinate his scouts. Prince Aemon met him there, and the two made plans together whilst Caraxes devoured half a dozen goats. But the Evenstar's camp was not as hidden as it seemed, and the smoke from Caraxes' dragonfire as he devoured his goats drew the eyes of a pair of Myrish scouts who were creeping through the heights unawares. One of them recognized the Evenstar as he strode through the camp at dusk, talking with Prince Aemon. The men of Myr are indifferent sailors and feeble soldiers. The weapons of choice are dirks, daggers, and crossbows, preferably poisoned. One of the Myrish scouts wound his crossbow now, behind the rock where he was hidden. Rising, he took aim on the Evenstar at 100 yards below, and loosed his bolt. Dusk and the fair distance made his aim less certain, and the bolt missed Lord Cameron and struck Prince Aemon, who was standing at his side. The iron bolt punctured through the prince's throat and out the back of his neck. The Prince of Dragonstone fell to his knees and grasped the crossbow bolt, as if to try and pull it from his throat, but the strength was gone from him. Aemon Targaryen, the Prince of Dragonstone, and heir to the Iron Throne, died struggling to speak, drowned on his own blood. He was only 37 years old. How can words tell of the grief that swept the Seven Kingdoms that day, of the pain felt by King Jaehaerys and Queen Alysanne, of Lady Jocelyn Baratheon's empty bed and bitter tears, and the way that Princess Rhaenys wept to know her father would never hold the child she was carrying. Far easier to speak of Prince Baelon's wrath, however, and how he came down upon Tarth on his dragon Vhagar, howling for vengeance. The Myrish ships burned as Prince Morion's ships had burned 9 years earlier in the War of 100 Candles. When the Evenstar and Lord Baelon descended upon the Myrish from the mountains, they had nowhere to run. They were cut down by the thousands and left to rot along the beaches, so every wave that washed ashore for days was tinged pink. Baelon the Brave played his part in the slaughter, with his Valyrian steel sword Darksister in hand. When he returned to King's Landing, when the island was secure with his brother's corpse, the small folk lined the streets screaming his name and hailing him a hero. But it was said when he saw his mother again, he fell into her arms and wept. "I slew 1,000 of them," he said, "but it would not bring him back." And the queen stroked her son's hair and said, "I know." The Myrish Bloodbath opened Pandora's box and would have long-lasting, far-reaching consequences that no one alive at the time could have predicted in the moment. Prince Aemon was King Jaehaerys' undisputed heir and a powerful influence in the Red Keep in his own right. It is safe to say, if he had been given the chance, Prince Aemon would have been a good king, held in the same regard as his father, Jaehaerys. His untimely death opened up the first of several succession disputes that plagued the late reign of King Jaehaerys, and set the Seven Kingdoms on a path towards the Great Council of 101 AC, and ultimately the bloody Dance of the Dragons. One stray crossbow bolt, fired in a petty war of little consequence, changed the course of history forever.